Hey, bows and bow ties. So look, um, I know this was just kind of like spur of the moment, off the cuff. I just wanted to talk about the Danae Jackson um, situation for a second. So she did an interview, and by the way, if you don't know who she is the wife or soon to be divorcee to Derek Jackson. Derek Jackson was apparently this, I don't know if he was a dating coach or a relationship coach or whatever he was. I never knew who he was until the scandal came out. I didn't know who this guy was. But let me just say this. She came out and did an interview, and in that interview, basically, she was just recounting her relationship, all of the missteps, and they were brutal. Okay, basically, she owned herself. Basically, she dragged herself in this interview on. Hey, don't come down here. I'm doing a live real quick. Okay, don't come here. They'll see you on camera. Give me like 5 minutes. All right. So look, sorry, I don't like my kids to be on camera. So look, she did an interview, and in this interview, she basically dragged herself. She recounted all the missteps, the fact that she was a willing participant in much of the shenanigans. As my mother would say, you are not the victim, you are the volunteer. With all that to be said, let me just say this. I don't plan on being on here long because you know I like to get my chill on the weekends. Uh, with the whole Danae Jackson story, it's easy to say, see, look at this, and these men ain't this. I mean, um, at this point, what she said speaks for itself. I don't feel the need to get out here on the internet and to continue to not only bash these no good black men, because there's a lot of them out there, right? But also shame this woman. She has already been putting in work. Okay, she's admitted to she started off with 3 therapists. She narrowed down to one, and I suspect she's continuing to put in some work. And so I feel like this is the reason why I don't reach out to anyone to do a whole lot of collaboration. Let me tell you the reason why. This woman came out, she's speaking, but she's recounting all of her missteps. This requires her to be brave and vulnerable. And now we've got everybody out here wanting to say, now see, and look at this, and look at that. Anybody with any kind of brain, and maybe I'm giving people too much credit, can hear and count the missteps. But the thing that kills me the most is we spent so much time talking about how bad, or people will spend so much time talking about how bad he is and how, you know, marriage is bad and all this other stuff. And instead of uplifting this woman, because she needs support. There's no sisterhood out here. And so it's really easy for people to say, see, and this is why I'm not this, that, and the other, instead of saying, hey, how do we fix it so that we, it's like they're shaming her and they're kicking her while she's down. See, and she was the this, that, and the other. Of course, she admitted to all these missteps. She admitted to it. So we don't need to lean in on that, right? And this is when you have to say, okay, she has already dragged herself. We don't need to get in and pour on top of it. I feel like there's no grace here. There is no sisterhood out here. We talk about how messed up the black men are. We're messed up as women. Instead of saying, okay, let's lift this woman up in prayer. Let's say, okay, like this is how we should be helping her to move forward. This is how we all should be talking to each other. How can we, as a collective, as a nation of people, when I say nation, I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about like, you know, the United States, who has, is like a nation state actually. Women, black women, all women, but specifically black women, I'm more concerned about black women, right? How do we say, hey, look, we see what happened, and how do we make sure that she's healing? Now, I think the best thing she did was she has a relationship with God. I know a lot of these angry women out here don't necessarily have a relationship. They say they're spiritual, whatever. But we don't need to pile on. Because what she did, you know, she didn't have to do that. She's going to help a whole lot of people, believe it or not. But to sit there, and I feel like we're just passing judgment. We know that situation was jacked up. Anyway, what I want to say was, we don't have to take this woman and talk about all the bad things that she's done. We get it. We get it. We know he wasn't a good guy. But instead of giving him all this energy about how he's a no good dude and all this other stuff, we see it for what it is. Don't give him any energy. We need to be pouring our energy in making sure that we wrap our arms around her. And the men need to be putting their energy into making sure he gets some help too. Because he's clearly got a lot going on. At this point, we know collectively black men and black women are so broken. The community is so broken. It's broken. So there's no upside to all this constant shaming and look at this, see? And I mean, they're using her, people are using this woman's pain, which is also a testimony. This is a testimony, but she's come through, and a lot of people can't see the forest for the hills. And let me tell you something, God's not done with this woman yet. She's gone through a lot. So instead of like shaming and all these other things, I think that we should be looking for ways to uplift this woman, support her, and say, okay, you've been through this, and let's answer the question of the now what. All right, that's pretty much it. Go ahead and leave a comment. Have a good one.